All he did was request that his neighbor's son stop trespassing through his yard. Within moments, she was yelling, filming, and dialing 911, claiming he was dangerous. Red and blue lights illuminated the neatly manicured lawns, flashing against white picket fences and parked SUVs. It was meant to be a peaceful Saturday in Brookhaven Estates, but the neighborhood held its collective breath. 2 police cars idled in front of DeAndre Collins' home, their engines humming softly as officers spoke with a woman brandishing her phone, still recording. Her name was Melinda Keene, the type of neighbor who never skipped an HOA meeting, ensuring garbage cans were out by precisely 7 a.m. She was livid, trembling, spouting words that clashed with the calm, composed man standing opposite her. DeAndre wasn't shouting or moving, just standing still, arms relaxed, face expressionless but eyes weary, as if he'd faced this kind of mix-up before. "Sir," one officer said, "she's alleging you threatened her." DeAndre gave a wry chuckle, not from amusement but disbelief. "Threatened, officer? I told her I have footage of her son damaging my property. That's it." Melinda's voice broke, defensive. "He's a kid. You frightened him." The younger officer glanced between them, uneasy. The tension was palpable, neighbors lingered on porches, phones out, recording. Judgment seeped across the street, half-whispered, half-feigned concern. Then an officer asked, "Do you have that footage, sir?" DeAndre nodded, pulling out his phone. His hands were steady, not from lack of anger but from refusing to let anyone see him falter. He hit play. On screen, a teenage boy, Brandon Keene, vaulted a low fence, his sneakers scuffing dirt. A garden light fell, then another shattered under his heel as he laughed, crossing the grass like it was his own, vanishing into his yard. The officer watched silently, then glanced at Melinda. She blinked, frozen. The sound of a nearby sprinkler carried softly. "He didn't mean to," she stammered, "it was an accident." DeAndre's voice stayed even. "He's done it 3 times this week." For a moment, no one spoke, just the faint hum of phones recording and lights reflecting off windshields. Slowly, the officers stepped back. "Okay," one said cautiously, "no arrests tonight. We'll file a report. This seems like a misunderstanding." Melinda's lips tightened. "A misunderstanding? He confronted my son. He asked him to stop trespassing," the officer said, sounding tired. "And he has proof." At that, her composure cracked. She turned away, hands trembling, muttering something inaudible. DeAndre stood there, trying to exhale the anger weighing on his chest, not at the police, not even at her, but at how quickly his simple stand for fairness became a spectacle with flashing lights and neighbors filming like it was entertainment. One officer approached. "Sir, I'm sorry about this. Just keep your distance, okay?" DeAndre nodded. "Trust me, officer, that won't be an issue." When the cruisers left, the neighborhood exhaled. Doors closed, curtains shifted, a TV's blue glow flickered through a window. DeAndre turned to his porch, shoulders heavy. His wife, Monica, cracked the door, eyes filled with concern. "You okay?" "Yeah," he said, though his tone wavered. "I'm fine." She stepped closer. "You shouldn't have been out there alone. I didn't do anything wrong." "I know," she said softly, "but they don't always see it that way." He didn't respond, just glanced back at the Keene's house. Brandon's bike lay tipped over by their driveway, a broken garden light flickered faintly behind him, as if mocking the whole ordeal. Inside, his kids whispered from the hallway, too curious to stay hidden. His daughter asked, "Dad, why were the police here?" He knelt beside her. "Because someone got it wrong." "What kind of wrong?" "The kind grown-ups make when they don't hear each other." That night, DeAndre couldn't sleep. He sat in the living room, scrolling his phone, trying to let the quiet drown out the echo of sirens. But the videos were already online. A neighbor had posted the clash in a local Facebook group, captioned, "HOA drama on Cedar Lake Drive, man confronts teen." Comments flooded in. Some said, "That guy needs to chill," while others countered, "Watch the video before you judge." But opinions didn't matter, the damage was done. By morning, everyone in Brookhaven Estates had their own version of the story, none quite right. Yet before it snowballed, it started small, with a fence, a few garden lights, and a boy who thought boundaries didn't apply to him. On paper, Brookhaven Estates was the dream neighborhood: identical lawns, matching mailboxes, and an HOA newsletter on glossy paper with a quote about unity at the top. Every Saturday, you'd see retirees walking dogs, young families at lemonade stands, and lawnmowers humming in sync. But harmony, as DeAndre had learned, was fragile. It held only as long as everyone stayed in line, kept their grass trimmed, smiled at the right people, and stayed silent when something irked them. DeAndre and Monica had lived there 6 years, saving nearly a decade for their 2-story home with beige siding, white shutters, and enough room for their kids to have their own spaces. It wasn't lavish, but it was theirs, and they mostly liked their neighbors, most of them. Across the street were Howard and Denise Loomis, retired teachers who waved daily and brought cookies at Christmas. 2 doors down was Mark Keene, Melinda's husband, rarely home but polite when he was. Then there was Melinda, an HOA board member with a clipboard for every rule, from lawn height to parking etiquette. Her smile never reached her eyes. DeAndre tried to stay on her good side. Following every rule, tucking trash cans behind the fence, trimming hedges precisely. Still, she found faults: letters about grass a 1/4 inch too long or unapproved lighting. He'd laugh it off with Monica, guess my lights threaten the neighborhood vibe, but beneath the humor was quiet frustration. One day, he came home to find Melinda photographing his yard. He rolled down his car window. "Everything okay?" "Just documenting for the HOA report," she said without looking up. "For what?" "Your mailbox is tilting slightly." He stared, unsure if she was serious. "It's a mailbox, not Big Ben." She gave a tight smile. "Rules are rules." That was Brookhaven. You learned to pick your fights. DeAndre wasn't one for conflict. He worked remotely, debugging code and managing networks for a Raleigh logistics firm. He liked his routines: morning runs, coffee with Monica on the porch, weekends fixing small home projects. His kids, Kendall and Ari, biked with other neighborhood kids, including Brandon, Melinda's son. At first, Brandon seemed typical, loud but harmless. Then small incidents started: a scratched car door, a missing basketball, footprints in flower beds. DeAndre brushed it off: kids mess up, but when his new garden lights began breaking, he suspected Brandon. He held off, wanting proof, avoiding trouble with Melinda after years of petty friction. But one night, checking his security footage, he saw it clearly: Brandon, headphones on, cutting through the yard, smashing a light without a glance back. DeAndre sighed. "Why can't people teach their kids respect?" he muttered. Monica looked up from the kitchen. "You saw it?" "Yeah." "I'll talk to him tomorrow," calmly. "Be careful," she said. "You know how she is." "I'll be polite," he promised. "This isn't about her, it's about right and wrong." The next morning, DeAndre saw Brandon again, same hoodie, same shortcut. He stepped outside. "Hey, Brandon, got a sec?" The boy stopped, startled. Yeah. "I need you to stop cutting through my yard, okay? You've broken some lights." Brandon looked down, kicking dirt. "I didn't mean to. It's just quicker." "I get it, but there's a sidewalk for a reason." The kid nodded, eyes darting to his house. "Okay, sorry." DeAndre smiled faintly. "No problem, just respect the space." It could have ended there, a simple fix, but in places like Brookhaven, things rarely stayed simple. That night, his camera caught Brandon again, glancing at the lens before running off. The next morning, another light lay shattered, glass strewn across the grass. DeAndre's patience frayed. It wasn't just the yard, it was the principle, the disregard, the feeling of being ignored in a place where he followed every rule. He told Monica, who sighed. "You've been more patient than most. Just don't make it worse." He nodded, unsure what worse meant. He didn't yell or threaten, he just decided to talk to Brandon again. But this time, it wouldn't be just the boy, it'd be his mother, phone in hand, already convinced of her story. The next morning started calm, the kind of day that made Brookhaven's HOA brochures look real: birds chirping, a jogger in bright gear, sprinklers hissing. DeAndre sat on his porch, coffee in hand, waiting for the world to stir. Across the street, he saw movement: Brandon, same hoodie, cutting through again. DeAndre set his cup down. "All right, enough. He walked over, not fast, not angry, just steady. "Brandon," he called, voice even, "we already talked about this." The boy froze mid-step. "I said sorry, didn't I?" "You did," DeAndre said, "but sorry doesn't fix broken lights. It just means you know you messed up." Brandon shrugged. "It's not a big deal." DeAndre pointed to the cracked light by his shoe. "Maybe not to you, but this yard costs me time, money, and respect goes both ways." A pause hung, the kind where reason might have worked, but Brandon looked away, mumbling. "What was that?" "I said I'll stop," he muttered. "Good," DeAndre replied. "That's all I'm asking." He turned to head back, thinking it was done, but then Melinda's voice cut through. "What are you doing?" DeAndre turned, startled. She stood on her porch, barefoot, phone already filming, her tone sharp, accusing, like she'd caught a crime in progress. "Good morning," DeAndre said, trying to stay composed. "I was just, don't good morning me. Why are you confronting my son?" DeAndre blinked. "Because he keeps trespassing and breaking my lights. I've talked to him twice." Melinda stepped closer, still recording. "You don't talk to my child. You come to me. I tried that last month, remember? You said, let boys be boys." Her expression shifted. "That's not what I said." "It's exactly what I said," DeAndre replied, patience thinning. Brandon stepped back, awkward, eyes bouncing between them. "Mom, it's not a big deal." "Go inside, Brandon," she snapped. The boy hesitated, then bolted indoors. Melinda turned back. "You scared him. By asking him not to wreck my property. You were looming over him, raising your voice." "I wasn't yelling," he said flatly. "Check your video." Her lips tightened, she raised her phone higher. "You need to stop harassing us, or I'll report you to the HOA." DeAndre stared, baffled. 6 years here, no complaints. You're the one sending notices about mailboxes and flowers. Maybe check your own behavior." Her face reddened. "I know your type. You think you can bully people." "My type." Something in her tone hinted at more than homeowners or rules, something unspoken but clear. "Melinda," he said, voice low, "I don't want trouble. I have proof your son's been trespassing. That's it." He showed her the video, Brandon laughing as a light broke under his foot, music blaring in his earbuds. Her anger faltered, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. "You're recording my child without consent. That's illegal. It's my property, my camera." "It's legal," DeAndre said. She stepped back, breathing fast. "You're threatening me." He raised a hand, incredulous. "Threatening you? I'm in my own yard." But she was already on the phone. "Yes, I need to report a man threatening me and my son," she said loudly. DeAndre's heart sank, this was spiraling. Neighbors peeked out, one guy pretended to check his mail. "Mom, please," DeAndre said quietly. "Don't do this. I haven't touched anyone." Her eyes were wild. "Stay back," she yelled into the phone. "He's getting aggressive." DeAndre stepped back, palms up. "You're lying, and you know it." She hung up, glaring. "You'll regret this." He stared, then turned home, each step heavy, like wading through quicksand. Inside, Monica looked alarmed. "What happened?" She called the cops. Her eyes widened. "You're kidding." "No," he said, staring out the window. "They'll be here soon." And they were, 10 minutes later, lights flashing, bathing the street in red and blue. But what the officers saw was only half the story. The real chaos would come when cameras and neighbors fueled the fire. By the time the first cruiser arrived, tension on Brookhaven Lane was thick enough to choke on. Curtains twitched, garage doors cracked open just enough to peek. Police visits were rare here, making every moment heavier. DeAndre stood on his lawn's edge, hands visible, shoulders low. He'd done nothing wrong, but he knew how fast things could twist. Whispers spread like wildfire from porch to porch. The officers stepped out, one older, graying. The other younger, nervous looking. "Evening," the senior officer said cautiously. We got a disturbance report. What's going on? Before DeAndre could answer, Melinda's voice rang out. He threatened me and my son. He was yelling. The younger officer turned. Ma'am, please step back. She hesitated, arms crossed, muttering about feeling unsafe. DeAndre took a slow breath. Officers, I didn't threaten anyone. I have footage of her son damaging my property. I just asked him to stop. The older officer nodded. You got that video? DeAndre played the clip. Both officers watched, no yelling, no aggression, just a man calmly addressing a teen who'd clearly messed up, laughing as a light broke. The senior officer exhaled. All right, doesn't look like you did anything wrong. Melinda's voice spiked. He was recording my child. Ma'am, the younger officer said gently, it's on his property. That's allowed. She blinked, thrown off. You're letting him get away with this. There's nothing to get away with, the officer replied. DeAndre stayed calm. I just want this to stop. Then don't talk to my son again. Melinda snapped. You don't discipline other people's kids. Then teach your son to respect other people's property, DeAndre shot back, calm fraying. The older officer stepped in. All right, enough. Nobody's under arrest. Let's cool it down. But the damage was done. Cameras were out, a woman across the street filmed from her steps, another neighbor whispered, that's the guy from the HOA letters, right? Melinda straightened, trembling but fueled by attention. I can't believe this. I'm calling the HOA president. You'll hear from us. DeAndre didn't respond, just walked to his porch, jaw tight. Inside, Monica stood at the window. You handled it as best you could. Doesn't matter, he muttered. They'll twist it. Their daughter Kendall peeked out. Are the police gone? Yes, sweetheart, DeAndre said. They're gone. But peace didn't return. The next morning, DeAndre's phone buzzed, messages, notifications, group chats. One read, check the neighborhood Facebook group. He clicked. There it was, a blurry video from across the street, captioned, Man confronts teen, gets aggressive. Cops called. It started mid-exchange, Melinda yelling, DeAndre explaining, cutting off before his proof. Comments were brutal, why's he yelling at a kid? He should have gone through the HOA. Some defended him, he wasn't yelling. She called 911 for nothing. But it didn't matter, everyone knew his name, face, house. Later, he saw Brandon biking by, avoiding eye contact. DeAndre wanted to call out, say none of this was needed, but he didn't risk it. Melinda stood in her driveway, on her phone, glaring when she saw him, then went inside. By evening, an HOA email arrived, reminder, neighbor disputes should go through proper channels. Direct confrontations are discouraged. No names, but everyone knew. That night, Monica touched his shoulder. You did the right thing. People will see it. He stared at the broken light by the fence. Maybe, but it doesn't feel like it. A local blog reporter emailed, asking for his side. He didn't reply, this wasn't about going viral, just fairness and peace. But peace fades when pride, perception, and proof collide, and in Brookhaven, that collision grew louder. By Sunday, the story had its own life. The video spread, first in the Facebook group, then community pages, then a blog, HOA dispute escalates, mother calls police after neighbor confrontation. No names, but everyone knew. DeAndre sat at breakfast, staring at his phone as comments piled up, typical aggressive behavior. He scared her. Monica set down eggs. Stop reading that. Hard not to, he said. His kids pretended not to listen, but they'd seen the lights, heard the yelling. Now their dad was the talk of the town. The doorbell rang. DeAndre froze. Expecting someone? Monica shook her head. He checked the window, 2 officers. Morning, one said. Follow up on yesterday. Mrs. Keene filed a statement, said she felt threatened, you yelled, got too close to her son. DeAndre rubbed his forehead. You saw the video. That's not true. We did, the officer said. No charges, but we have to check in. Stay clear of each other. Believe me, DeAndre said, I plan to. After they left, he stared at the calm street, feeling the gossip spread. At Home Depot, buying new lights, he replayed every moment. He hadn't yelled, hadn't touched anyone, just asked for respect. Back home, Monica held her phone. Melinda posted on the HOA page. He set down the lights. What now? She says she protected her child from a hostile neighbor, claims you were threatening. His stomach sank. She's playing the victim. Monica nodded. People are believing it. That evening, he read her post, polite, cutting, noble. Yesterday, a male neighbor aggressively approached my son, making me fear for our safety. I had to call law enforcement. Comments followed, glad you're safe, Melinda. You did the right thing. DeAndre's fists clenched. He started typing, then stopped, fueling it wouldn't help. That night, Monica found him, TV off. You can't let her win by staying quiet. I don't want a spectacle. She already made it one, she said. Say what happened. He nodded. Fine. That night, he posted the full, unedited footage, time-stamped, with a note, this is what happened. Judge for yourself. For an hour, nothing. Then views climbed, dozens, hundreds. Comments rolled in, I take back what I said, he was calm. She lied. But some held firm, he shouldn't have talked to her kid. Looks aggressive. Bye. Midnight, it hit 1,000 views. Monica scrolled beside him. Some see the truth now. Some, he said. But people don't want truth, they want sides. The next morning, HOA President Robert Gleason waited by his mailbox. Meeting tonight. Keep it calm. DeAndre raised an eyebrow. I've been calm since day one. Robert sighed. I know, but emotions are high. Melinda's been here a long time. 6 years is long enough for respect, DeAndre said. Robert nodded, uneasy. Just show up, say your piece. That evening, the HOA clubhouse was packed, every seat taken, phones ready. DeAndre walked in with Monica, feeling eyes on him. Melinda sat front, arms crossed, neighbors around her. Robert cleared his throat. Let's address the dispute between Mr. Collins and the Keene family. Silence fell. Melinda stood. I never meant for this to go public. I was protecting my son. He's 16, made a mistake, but the approach was wrong. No parent wants their child intimidated. DeAndre stood, steady. 6 years here, I've followed every rule, fixed every complaint, even the nonsense ones. I kept quiet, respected everyone. But respect is mutual. My property was damaged repeatedly. I asked politely for it to stop, showed proof. Instead, I got police lights. Whispers rippled. Melinda stiffened. You're exaggerating. Am I? DeAndre said. I showed the police, the board, posted it online so no one could twist it. A woman spoke up. I saw it, he wasn't yelling. Melinda glared. You didn't see before. There was no before, DeAndre said. You rewrite what's on camera to save face. Gasps spread. Robert raised his hands. Civil, please. Dennis Rowe spoke. Calling 911 over a talk could have ended badly. Melinda flushed. I felt threatened. How? Dennis asked. He stayed on his lawn. I shouldn't have to explain my feelings, she snapped. DeAndre folded his arms. You felt threatened, didn't see a threat. Big difference. Silence fell, heavy with realization. Robert exhaled. Enough. We propose mediation, neutral third party, and updated dispute guidelines. Melinda crossed her arms. So he faces nothing. There's nothing to punish, Robert said. The evidence doesn't back your claims. Her confidence cracked. You're taking his side. No, Robert said. The truth's side. DeAndre sat, pulse racing but face calm. Monica squeezed his hand. The meeting ended awkwardly, people shuffled out, avoiding eyes. Outside, Howard caught up. You nailed it. People saw the truth. DeAndre shook his head. Maybe, or they'll pretend it never happened. But the story wasn't over, guilt lingers, and sometimes apologies come quietly. 3 days later, the storm seemed to quiet. HOA emails stopped, the Facebook thread faded, neighbors mowed lawns like nothing happened. But for DeAndre, silence wasn't relief, it was reflection. He'd won, technically, footage cleared him, the board backed him, gossip faded, but the patrol cars, footsteps, still tightened his stomach. Friday evening, on his porch with cold coffee, he saw Melinda crossing the street, hesitant, arms folded. The sun glowed gold. Evening, DeAndre said cautiously. Hi, she said softly. Got a minute? He nodded. Sure. She stayed on the sidewalk, looking smaller, tired. I'm sorry, she said. For everything, calling the police, making it worse. He studied her. That's a lot to apologize for. I know, she said. I don't expect forgiveness. I've been getting messages since the meeting, some support, some ugly. DeAndre looked at his cup. Welcome to the internet. I deserved some, she admitted. I let emotions outrun reason. Seeing you with Brandon, I assumed the worst, reacted. You didn't just react, he said. You weaponized fear. She flinched, then nodded. You're right. Silence fell, a distant lawnmower buzzing. Brandon's. Grounded, she said. He wrote you a note. She handed over a folded paper. DeAndre read the messy scrawl, sorry for breaking your lights. Didn't mean trouble. He nodded. He's a good kid. Just needs boundaries. She smiled faintly. He's stubborn, like me. DeAndre leaned on the railing. If you'd talked like this day one, none of this happens. I know, she said. I've been on the HOA so long, I forgot how to be a neighbor. The honesty stung. He nodded. Thanks for saying this. She glanced at her house. I stepped down from the board. It didn't feel right. Probably for the best, he said. She nodded, turned, then paused. You didn't deserve this. I hope people forget me before you. He didn't reply. She walked back, closing her door softly. DeAndre felt something, not forgiveness, but understanding. That night, he told Monica. You believe her. In the moment, he said. We'll see if she changes. Monica touched his hand. Sometimes closure's not justice, it's hearing someone admit they were wrong. He nodded. Maybe that's enough. They sat, the fridge humming. Across the street, the Keen's lights dimmed. Next morning, DeAndre saw the fence between their yards, fixed, fresh wood, clean paint, no gaps. No note, just a gesture. He smiled faintly, grabbed his paper, and looked at the street that had stressed him so much. It felt lighter, not peaceful, but close. Yet even as things heal, the question lingers, what happens when one misunderstanding reveals how fragile trust is? A week later, Brookhaven looked normal, lawns mowed, mailboxes straight, HOA newsletter preaching forgiveness. Nobody said who wrote it, but everyone knew. DeAndre read it, set it aside. He wasn't bitter, just bone-tired from proving what shouldn't need proving. Neighbors waved softer now, some stopped for small talk, football, weather, veiled apologies without the word. He took it in stride, not holding grudges but not forgetting. One afternoon, fixing a fence. Plank, he saw Brandon, basketball underarm. Hey, DeAndre said. Hey, Brandon replied. Thanks for not hating me. DeAndre smiled. Wasn't worth it. Learned something. Yeah, Brandon said. Mom says grown-ups mess up too. True, DeAndre nodded. It's what you do after. Brandon grinned shyly, went back to hoops. It was small but mattered. Inside, Monica set dinner. He talked to you? Yeah, he'll be fine. She smiled. Maybe everyone will. That night, DeAndre sat outside, the new lights glowing steady. The street was quiet, not tense, but earned. He thought about it all, the yelling, lights, comments, apology. One misunderstanding, one assumption, spiraled fast. It wasn't about a light, it was perception, who's believed first, who's questioned second. That, he realized, wasn't just Brookhaven's problem, it was human. He leaned back, watching Melinda's porch light flicker. She hadn't spoken since her apology. He hoped she meant it, for her, for Brandon. A car passed, headlights sweeping like a quiet patrol. DeAndre closed his eyes, breathing deep, steady for the first time in days. Howard strolled over with sodas. Mind if I sit? Go ahead, DeAndre smiled. Howard cracked a can. People think neighborhoods are fences and rules, but it's really folks choosing to care. DeAndre nodded. Sometimes it takes a mess to remind them. Howard chuckled. Mess or miracle, depends on the view. They sat, sipping, watching daylight fade. A sprinkler hissed. You did good, Howard said. Most would have lost it. DeAndre smiled. Losing your temper feels good for a second. Keeping dignity lasts. Howard raised his can. Well said. When Howard left, DeAndre lingered, thinking. It wasn't about winning or proving someone wrong, it was what people choose to see. Assumptions turn neighbors to enemies, honesty, courage turn them back. He thought of his kids, their world. Not perfect, but if they learned anything, he hoped it was that. Calm isn't weakness, and truth doesn't need volume. He turned off the porch light, ready for bed. The yard was clean, peaceful. Across the street, a soft light glowed in the Keen's window, a reminder people change, slowly. Monica called, coming to bed. Yeah, he said, glancing at the quiet street. I think I can. Because in the end, it wasn't about fences, lights, or HOA rules, but what happens when people forget to see each other's humanity. Sometimes, it takes the wrong noise to remind everyone what respect sounds like. If this story resonates, pause and think, how would you handle DeAndre's shoes? Follow for more stories showing how perception shapes truth, and empathy rebuilds what misunderstanding shatters.